Hello, welcome to Wild Plymouth. This is a healing tarot reading. It's a collective reading and it is designed to help us heal some particular energies. All right, so we are the King of Cups. That was the overlay in the previous reading, and the overlay today is the Three of Swords in reverse, which also showed up in yesterday's reading. So there is some movement. There's some movement happening. So the healing of the heart, the healing of that fragmentation. And so in the place of the physical, we have the Ten of Swords. And so the readings here, they're going to be doing wheel format, healing wheel. And it's going to be physical and then mental, emotional, which we have defense, protection, standing in our place. There's a amount of conflict there. And in the realm of story, we have the Eight of Pentacles. And it was a little bit in reverse. So what the story of the Eight of Pentacles that's coming in is, like, what do we work on? How are we working? Are we working on the wrong thing? Where are we putting our energy? How are we doing this? Where does our effort go? And then this energy of victory, the Six of Wands, is coming in. So this is the wheel. This is the wheel for today. And each day we're going to get a new map of healing. The truth is, stabilizing our energies, it doesn't require all the words. It doesn't require all of these activities. It's actually quite simple on this one level, but our lives today are quite complicated. And so because of that, we need something for our minds to attune to while someone is giving us a reading. And so this is where tarot readings are very healing, as we do them for ourselves or we do them for others, as we listen to them on a platform like YouTube. What you're getting is my energy, where I'm at, what I've learned, how I've traveled, and you're integrating that into your subconscious, how I see the world, how I map the world. And this is an antidote to the media that we've seen in the world. It's to give more perspective, more complexity, more views. It's mixing things up. It's giving more options. A lot of us have been watching this mainstream media, having these mainstream values. There's not really anything wrong with the heart of them, but when it comes to our individual lives, a lot of what we're experiencing isn't catered to our individual needs. And even something like mental health, there's still a lot of people that don't understand that. And so as we walk in the world, as we develop a craft, people might not be embracing us in our challenges. We might not be given the space. We're just told to work, work, work. But no, what this is telling me with this overlay of healing our hearts is our hearts need to be in our lives. We can't just cut ourselves off. And that leads to this overthinking. When we live with a broken heart, our lives are shattered. We have to protect ourselves mentally and emotionally all the time. And then there is this overworking that's a substitute. And we're flipping that now, where we're working with a healed heart. We are the king. So this is also part of this idea of Wild Logix. Heart and mind are working together. There's this new kind of wisdom. And this energy of Six of Wands, this victory energy, is coming in to support us. We don't have to live brokenhearted anymore. We don't. You're welcome to heal. You're welcome to take this message and accept and receive. Here we go. So that is one of these layers, really looking at what we're putting out and what we're getting, and is it sustainable? The reason our minds are just exhausted and overthinking is we're trying to find a way out of a maze with no escape. But then you realize you can just step right out of it, that it's all an illusion. right? We still have to function in the physical world, but there's a lot of aspects to it that are pure illusion. And here we have the Emperor. So creating this new type of stability and structure within it. And so, there are beautiful aspects to masculinity and femininity, and that's inherent in who we are as people. And again, to how our society has created these roles and, to advertise and to sell things and to create products and there's been a lot that has been built into the identity of masculine and feminine, those energies. It's not about male and female. This is like the yin and the yang, this duality, which, is only one way to see things. We can also see things in a more nuanced way as well. Okay, but so back to it. I was talking to a family member about some heartache that I'm going through. And, I knew the territory I was getting into, that this person was not emotionally supportive to me really ever in my life. But I had a conversation with them for the first time where I really got escalated and aggressive, and I hadn't talked to them for a while, and I just felt called to apologize. In the wake of the heartache, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna address some of my regrets. And so I called this family member to apologize, and they didn't think it was a big deal, but they yell and they get very escalated all the time. So it's, and they didn't really apologize, which is also, expected. So, but and I didn't totally understand, I did want to find this peace, but I found something else instead. What I found is when I was saying what I was going through, they kept talking about how hard their life was and how hard my person's life was, which I agreed with. This is why I was being patient. But the fact that I was also going through heartache because there was not really anything I could do, and I was cut out of the situation because the person was going through so much, which I can understand. And I also I love and care about that person, and I can understand why they were at their end. I could really see how deeply they were struggling. But there's it's a yes and I also was a person who was struggling because I was supporting, and then that fell apart and I was left out in the cold, and it had nothing to do with me, but I was feeling awful about it. And then I was talking to this parent, and again, I was kind of cut off, and I and I also felt some shame. I felt well, maybe I should have done something better. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I was asking too much. And then my parent was acting as if I was asking too much. And I was no, I'm the person here now. Can I get some love and grace in this situation? It's no, everyone else can, but not me. And it was very different than a conversation I had earlier that day with a mentor who, it was almost an opposite type of conversation. And the insight it gave me, which on one level I already knew this, but it's sometimes we need to reactivate it. And just before that conversation, I had watched a YouTube video about how our triggers help activate our healing. And that also kind of motivated me to lean in to the conversation, to be present, to not put my guard up and just see what happened in my conversation with my parent. And it was what I got afterwards was oh, so all of these negative feelings I'm feeling about myself, all of this doubt, all of this confusion, this is a complete map of how I felt as a child. And it's coming up in this confusing love situation because that's what they're meant to do. So this relates to this reading because there is this we try and try and try. But if we're in a labyrinth, when we go into this labyrinth because it looks like fun, we're just like, oh, like here we are, like, or we have to go through the labyrinth because the sign said go through this labyrinth. But as we grow, as we become older, we grow beyond the labyrinth and we can just step out of it. We can see beyond it, but we're still walking in it because we're looking down at it because we're fascinated by it, right? But if you're standing, then looking down, it's time to look up, my friends. It's time for us to look up and start to see that, like, we are in a new place, that we can step out and there is going to be success in our transformation here. And this is death. And death is a little bit scary on one hand because we're used to where we're at. We're comfortable with it. But for us to be present here, for us to get out of that labyrinth, we enter the now, right? We enter this space of now. We're not looking back. We're not looking forward. And as much as I do truly love the person that I was with, and there was this like potential building, and I don't believe it's done because I don't think like things like that are ever done. But I also know that the timing, like there needed to be a break, right? But there was this resistance because all of the wounds that the anxiety even before the break were bringing up, like I was using the love in the relationship to mask the wounds that were coming up by being close at that time. If that makes sense, right? So the closer we get, the more vulnerabilities that can come up that we might not be used to exposing. And I wouldn't look at other people and just because they have on the surface what looks like a good relationship, and that's good, but it could be like until you start to face challenges, you sometimes don't really know what's buried in there. And you can do a lot to protect yourself from facing challenges. And it's not that we want to invite negativity or hardship into our lives, but to face it can help us embrace it. To face it can help us embrace it, and it is who we truly are. It helps us get past the surface and prepare us for the bigger view of what life is and ground us in this larger truth. Okay, so let's get some more cards here. All right, we have the patron, mentorship and finances. So this is, the mentor that I spoke to yesterday, it was really enlightening. And it turned out that they have more to say, and we're going to continue. And we're actually going to work together. And this idea of finances is this, there's more to the flow of energy than just money. So I'm seeing that, yes, finances are perhaps the surface, but how that even works is a little bit dubious. And do we want to become dubious? No. So our abundance might look differently. So then we have the brawler, getting ready for a fight here, protecting ourselves. When we encounter people with a lack of empathy, we have to decide how we're going to handle that. But we don't have to fight on their level, right? We can just kind of like fly past it, like this character in the Five of Wands here, where there are these cats and this rat, like it looks like a karate master in a red robe is flying above the cats that also almost look like they're trying to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is kind of fun. So there is like, how we confront things. It's like confronting this labyrinth that we've grown bigger than. To confront it, it simply means raising our eyes to see that we've been walking in a labyrinth that we could get out of easily because we're not tiny anymore. We've grown. We've grown far beyond it. And we can just see beyond it now and see what else is out there. The adventurer, responsibility, expectations. So really taking responsibility for who we become. Letting ourselves set expectations for who we'll be. And having that guide our success. Like us maintaining our integrity and staying with our responsibilities rather than expecting things from the world. And I think sometimes when we're going through heartache or loss or distress, when we're out of balance, when we're overwrought by the world, it can be very easy to get stuck in these fights that have no winner, because the things that we're confronting have no desire to work with us, right? So we need to move beyond that. We need to find sources of work and belonging and being that aren't based on friction, demand and command, loyalty, chains, promises. Yeah. So be loyal to the now, and that will free you of your chains. Be loyal to your heart, and that will free you from the chains. All right, let's get a few more cards here from the Animal Spirit Guidebook. And as I'm shuffling, hit that like button, subscribe. I'm going to be providing these readings, these healings. This channel will evolve. So leaving a comment, saying hi. I'll be highly interactive with people in the beginning here as this channel starts. So, what is your practice for healing? How do you use tarot? Do you use tarot yourself as well? Okay. So we've got some interesting energies coming out here. Oh, and here comes Karen the cat. All right, Karen, you stay chill. We have the elk, and this is father energy, strength and grounded. We have the bat, and we have the panther. So there's a lot of, it feels like a lot of masculine energy in this way, even though that's not exactly the right word. There's something about like strength and power in this, and like different types of power. The starfish also came out upside down, and what I'm getting for this is it's the end of the superficial. We're going deep. We're getting into the muscle of it. And so the elk, the bat, and the panther have messages for us to help us work this healing wheel, to make space for that energy of success. But this is a bigger kind of success. It's a success in entering the now and transforming into who we want to be. So let's take a look at the elk. As I'm doing this, I'm realizing, so this kind of reading, maybe it feels less concrete than some. This is really about the energy being transmitted, this energy of victory, this energy of opening up to the now and transforming. I purposely don't give you a lot of concrete things. There are other readings with readers that do that are quite good. But the way that this channel works is to give your subconscious and you a lifting direction without concrete requirements, without like completely satisfying the mind. Because that starts to trigger a serotonin relationship, like addiction to answers. And we want to let you feel this more kind of warm, overwashing energy, this deeper resilience. But we still need other people. We still need stories. We still need voices. So this is intended to give you that kind of energy in a format that's accessible, but it's going to feel a little different perhaps. It's not giving concrete actions because there's really no concrete action that's required. What it is opening to new energies. And that can be done through movement and your own intuition, but this is to add energetically and to give you someone to sit with. The thing that I like the most about the readings is that I have people to sit with that I respect and appreciate their insights. But sometimes when there's a lot of direct information, it starts to overload my subconscious with a new set of concrete things that I need to do. And then I get overloaded. Right? New specific things to entertain. But this is a map, a looser map that can just very gently drop into who you are and what you need. And you can start to use this way with other YouTube videos and energy to just drop in and let it hit you energetically, connect energetically, and not worry so much about the how specifically. If a how comes up for you, if there's something I say in this, then let that hit. But you don't need a laundry list of stuff to do. You need a laundry list of you. Okay. The elk, stable, resilient, headstrong, the father. The great elk represents the earth element, an underlying support and stability amidst life's many changes. An elk personality, whether male or female, is fully established in themselves and knows their core values. They become known and respected for acting in ways that uphold those values. Sometimes the elk's ego can become inflated, but for the most part, they make damn good fathers, mothers, lovers, and friends. The world needs more elk energy. When in balance, supportive, kind, consistent. When out of balance, pretentious, high and mighty. Bring into balance, eat and drink more consciously. So, this consciousness that I was just speaking to, right? I mean, if we think about animals being in balance, which they're living different lives than us in many ways, but they're also existing on this planet. We're all made out of energy, I'm not talking about the type of energy that some people might consider woo-woo. I'm talking about literally the solar energy of the sun, the chemical energy of plants that we transmute into our bodies. It's all energy. Where are we getting it from? Where are we giving it? That is critical. But how we think about ourselves, the stories we tell, what we're putting our energy into, how are we working it, that matters. Okay, so let's take a look at the bat. Darkness, letting go, death leading to rebirth, right? So here we go. We got the death card. Before emerging, the bat waits for the sun to set and the moon to rise. In the darkness, it can see all that was invisible in the daylight hours. The bat is a master of the subtle senses, of the underlying forces that cause some things to prosper and others to fade. The bat card shows signifying the ending of a chapter, the closing of a door. The bat comes swiftly, encouraging us to move on. In just a few hours, a new day dawns, no more lingering in the past. When in balance, accepts, adapts, adjusts. When out of balance, refuses to let go, reminisces. To bring into balance, watch the sunrise. Yeah. And finally, we have the Panther. Annihilation of the unnecessary, purging, right? So that is what this reading is about. Panther, or also Jaguar medicine, is about mulching, taking what has been and making it into what's new. And if we are strongly clinging to what is, it's very hard. And what is, it can be an idea of ourselves. And that's usually where it originates. Like, what story are we telling ourselves? That's how we use the energy that's coming in for us. If we're telling a particular story and the universe is providing us energy and we keep transmuting it into, I gotta work harder, I gotta push harder, I gotta do this harder, then that's what we'll do. But if we shift our idea of what this means, like we can, that the Eight of Pentacles means like completely getting into the now, getting into that flow state, rather than working at something that doesn't please us, right? So any of these cards, like any of these positions in the tarot, can be taken a lot of different ways, can be used a lot of different ways. They are all useful and necessary because they're all part of the journey of life. And this is also what the Panther and the Bat speak to, is if we are unwilling to confront what we are dealing with, then we're going to get stuck in it. And we're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing into where we are at. And that will not let our healing happen. If we can't let go, we can't heal our heart. And letting go does not mean not loving someone. You can love the person and let go of the manifestation of what's happening. Love is unconditional. And this is where a lot of people get stuck too. Like, you want to have to push them out. You have to remove everything. Oh wow, just a flock of blue jays came through my yard. You have to just destroy everything that's happened. You have to dismiss it. You have to turn it into something bad because it ended. But no, you can love them. You can love the journey that you were on. I mean, there are certain things that, do not stay in situations that are bad for you. And we're the ones that can give ourselves the worst situations. In this, it's not to blame ourselves. It's just to know that we will carry the patterns in ourselves in an ongoing way. And so if we learned early on to carry a certain pattern, it seems safe. It seems how we survive. And as we get out of that situation, whether it's an early family situation or a love relationship that's out of balance that we didn't, know could happen, or we're naive to, whatever it is, as you step out of that, the world is going to give you other options, right? As that ends, and these things ending are blessings, because they're anything that is permanent will stay permanent. The world is made of things that shift and also things that are enduring. Anything that is enduring will last. And if you try to destroy something that's enduring, or try and take away someone else's sovereignty and individual identity, you will lose your mind in that. So respect even the people that are doing you harm by acknowledging that. And there's times where people have to get together and address these larger forces. That's a different thing. That's like knowing internally, being right with ourselves internally to actually do that good work. And it's an ongoing process. This isn't meant to judge. This is not meant to judge. Okay. The panther won't stand to see our growth or energy stagnate. Instead, it pounces on our lives and causes all kinds of havoc, with the ultimate intention of bringing us toward a more fulfilling life. It's unexpected, uncomfortable, and sometimes feels devastating. But after all, the dust clears. It's easy to see the panther's wisdom at work. We've all been through these experiences, and they've made us better people. Trust that the panther's journey always leads to a brighter place. When in balance, brave, productive. When out of balance, self-destructive. Bring it into balance. Get rid of the unnecessary. Yeah. So there has been this ringing question in my mind lately, like, what do humans truly need? Like, we look at all this stuff in the world, everything bouncing around, so much friction, so much resources off kilter, like health issues. I mean, there are things going well, but there's a lot of like tension around all of it. And what do humans truly need? I don't think we have a good grasp on that, because a lot of humans are not very grounded. And I definitely fall into that as well. But I use the tarot here to help heal. I'm curious, what are your favorite healing practices out there? Again, if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. This is a new channel. We're getting started. Let me know what you liked about this. And I appreciate all of you. I love you. I'm sending you lots of love. Focus on what's enduring. Focus on, healing yourself so that you can be present. If you're having trouble being present, that's a sign of friction in your mind and your emotions and in your life. But there is a way to transform into something new. We're all walking that walk, and it's an invisible walk. But as we become less and less burdened, as we let these energies tear away anything that isn't the core, we are so free. We're afraid to let go of the things that bind us because we think that's who we are. But I promise you, what you are is so much more beautiful than your burdens. Yeah. Don't let go of your love. All right. Sending so much love. I hope this resonated with someone. And until next time, be well.